there are two trumpet players that I literally view them as the gold standard of sound. Number one, Phil Smith. Number two, Hakan Hardenberger.
I don't think anybody's going to be shocked by that.
Well, they're like, oh, jazzer. This jazz, I hate that word, by the way, jazzer. But my English teacher in the, I believe it was 10th or 11th grade, her name was Susan Fowley. She gave us a writing assignment, and that assignment was to write a letter to our parents telling them what we would be doing 10 years from that moment. I was 16 years old. So I wrote a letter to my mother, and that letter said, "Dear Mom, I will be a college professor. I will be a recording artist, and I will be Wynton Marsalis' friend." Once I wrote that letter out and I told my mother those things and it became real in my head, that set me on a path to make it happen.
What was your practice schedule like in high school?
All day. Like literally all day. I would wake up in the morning. That was the first thing I did. And that's how I developed my routine, right?
Yeah.
The more technically sound you are, the more you're going to have the ability to be able to play anything that you hear in the moment, no matter what tempo it is. Okay, so if I'm playing and I hear something crazy, it's like, whoa, what is that? Let me play it. I don't have to think about that. I have the technique that affords me to be able to do that. Okay, that first tune was a tune entitled No Blues. You probably heard Miles Davis played it a lot of times, but he did not write it. Anybody know who wrote that tune? Sonny Rollins? Anybody got it? We're going to leave that alone. I'm going to just wait until somebody figures out. That's somebody calling with the answer. All right, but anyway. And the thing is, America is an experiment. It's one of the youngest experiments in the world. And it's up to us to make it right. It's not up to the politicians. It's not up to the people that want to divide us and keep us divided. It's up to us in this room. It's up to all of the folks that are listening, all of the folks that are writing music to do it. And we can do that with this music because jazz music is the greatest representation of democracy. The greatest representation of democracy, because jazz music is individual freedom with respect to the group. When I discovered the trumpet, that was 5th grade. Like everybody, most other people, they rolled a bunch of instruments in, flutes, clarinets, saxophones, all of that, and they demonstrated them. And nobody messed with that trumpet, man. And when I picked it up, I realized why it was hard. I'm sitting here with our two great drummers, Anton. What's up? And my man Ian. And we are following we're following Mama Cleotis. I don't know. And unfortunately, we have a trombone behind us.
Oh, wait, but isn't that the birthday boy? Isn't that your birthday? Hold on a second.
Oh, birthday boy. Oh, time to get it. Time to get it. Yeah. We're about to sing happy birthday. We ready?
Awesome. 3, 2.
Quietly, though.
Oh, okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jed. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Brother Jed. It's like, this is one thing that you hear trumpet players do all the time in the key of E flat concert. They're burning in E flat concert. But E, not as clean.
Yeah.
So I started teaching general music in an elementary school in East Cleveland. It taught me patience. It taught me the purity of the human spirit. Because those kids would come. One, I'll never forget this little girl, man. She came up to me at the end of the school year, and she said, "Daddy, don't leave me." Now, unless there's something that I don't remember that happened after one random gig, that was not her father. Not her biological father. Do you ever feel discouraged while you're practicing? Every day. I feel discouraged every day. If you didn't feel discouraged, then something would be wrong. The whole point of practicing is to give you some truth serum, right? If you go into the practice room every day and you feel like, yeah, I sound great, then you don't need to be in the practice room. You're in the practice room because you're identifying the things that you cannot do well, and you're working on them until you can do them well. Okay? Now, if you're diving specifically into an individual, you got to know their complete discography. You got to know where they're from, what instruments did they play on, who did they perform with, and what year did they come into prominence. Okay, yeah. So you can't know Clifford Brown without knowing the early 50s in jazz. You can't know Clifford Brown without knowing that he's from Delaware, Wilmington specifically. You can't know Clifford Brown without knowing that he died tragically in a car accident driving to a gig in Chicago on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. You can't know Clifford Brown unless you knew he played on the small bore instrument, right? You can't know Clifford Brown unless you knew that his wife's name was LaRue, all right? And he left her a pile of money. He saved everything he had, left him in good shape. Wow. He was that kind of cat. So you hear, that's why he sounds so clean. That's why he sounds so joyous. You can't know Freddie Hubbard without knowing he was a character. You can't know Freddie Hubbard without knowing that he was from Indianapolis. You can't know Freddie Hubbard unless you knew that he was really tied to David Baker and Wes Montgomery. You can't know Freddie Hubbard without knowing that he was on CTI Records, Creed Taylor Enterprises. You can't know Freddie Hubbard without knowing that he was on David Letterman's show, one of the great acts in early David Letterman. Can't know him without knowing that he lost his chops. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's mad hot here. We're still following Mama Cleotis into the Forbidden City. Yeah. Mama Cleotis is up there. Check it in a minute. Hot as a mud. I like to try to do stuff that's hard. And another thing is social media nowadays, everybody wants to play on social media and show what they're working on. Let's be real. Nobody's going to go on social media and play something that they sound like shit on. It's just not going to happen. Okay. Nobody wants to look bad on social media. So what happens is a lot of people record themselves practicing and they're not practicing. They're just playing what they can play well. That's not practicing. Practicing is basically doing or working out what you can't do until you have a level of proficiency at it. And then when you reach those benchmarks of success, you move on to the next thing that you can't play. See, the house was so hot that the whole bookshelf came tumbling down. That's what I'm talking about. That's a party right there. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Y'all having a good time? I know I keep asking. All right. Man, you got some good books, man. Damn. You're like a deep cat. You're a deep cat, man. You got The Invisible Man. Man, you got like Dance of the Infidel. What else you got over here, man? Thomas L. Friedman. I picked up Brother Stanley Crouch. See, that's him telling us, yeah, you know, that sound all right. Yeah, most serious trumpet players do not have egos. Most serious.
Right.
Keyword most. Most and serious go together. You know, we all get along. We know it's just hard. We're going to play a tune that was written by the great Freddie Hubbard. And you mind if I tell a Freddie Hubbard story real quick? So I did a CD release party. I put out my second record called Gemini. And Freddie was still around. And Freddie came to the CD release party that I had. And he sat, it was at the Iridium, and he sat at the edge of the bar, and I saw him come in, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, Freddie Hubbard. And so after the set, I made a beeline straight to Freddie Hubbard, and I said, hey man, thank you so much. Well, I didn't say, hey man, I said, Mr. Fred, Mr. Hubbard. I was like falling on my knees, And so he said, hey man, play your own shit. You playing everybody else, playing all my shit, play your own shit. And so, and he drank a shot and he left. And so right behind him, Lou Soloff was there. He came up behind me and he said, don't worry about it. He says that to everybody. And so I think about Freddie all the time. He's obviously an influence of all of us, and we're going to play one of his tunes. And I'm wearing one of their shirts today. And one of the folks that is a great contributor, I don't like to call her an employee, she's a great contributor of the Jazz Education Network. She is the managing director of that organization. Her name is Sharon Birch, and she does so much for the organization. And I decided that I was going to write a composition for her and a few of the other folks that are on the team in honor of the great service that they do for the organization. Now, what's funny about it is it sounds real sexy, this tune. And that is not what my intent was. My intent was to capture her spirit in the composition, and it just randomly came out sounding real sensuous. So, Sharon, if your husband is listening, I'm sorry, man. It's all love, but maybe this will help you out around the midnight hour. Today's run, I don't know what the goal is. I think at least 4 miles. It's extremely hot out here, but I've been using that as an excuse. It's time to get it in. Time to go. Time to run for Warren. No indoor runs today. 4 miles in, and it's like color purple sugar Avery Juke joint hot out here. And I'm gonna knock this last mile out. I had to change my playlist over to John Coltrane Afro Blue. That's gonna get me through. I'm ready to go. Warren, it might not be, 7 miles, but it's 90 degrees. So we got it. How you doing? Gotta say hi, gotta be polite. All right, let's do it. Woo. Run complete. 5 miles. This was a deep one, y'all. I haven't been running outside for a while, and I was told not to run outside by several people, but I've run in the heat before. It's all good. I made it. Now it's time to drink copious amounts of water. Copious. And I just want to clarify what I was saying earlier about making yourself feel uncomfortable. All of that. I'm not saying put yourself in pain. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there's greatness in the extremes. There's moments where you feel uncomfortable. It's like, ooh, cringeworthy. That's when you find your power. A lot of times, when you think that dynamic is a little too intense, that soft is a little too soft, that attack is a little too much, that note is a little too long, go for it. That's where the magic is. See y'all on the next one. We got an NYO Jazz run tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. It probably will not be 5 miles. What we're gonna do? I wanted to bring this to the table because, my man Benny Banak is here, and Benny, when Benny was 14 years old, would come to my house in Pittsburgh. You don't have to play on this. He coming up like, yeah, I'm ready for you. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, you'll be there. Yeah, drink up, baby. But Benny would come to my house, and he would take lessons from me when he was 14 years old. And so it's all full circle for me right now. And I remember all of y'all when y'all were in school, you know what I mean, doing your thing. And now, we've always been peers, but it's an important thing for those of us that are in education to realize that our greatest accomplishment is when our students do better than what we could ever do. And I'm so proud of y'all, man. I don't know what to say, man. Like, I love y'all. Let's grab hands. Are we together? 30 seconds. So I'll say one quick thing. You know how we've been saying since the beginning, play for someone you love, right? Yeah. All right, we all know what that means. We all heard it. Do that. All right, look around. Look at the person that you're standing next to. That should be someone you love. See you on the gig.
The 1 O'Clock Lab Band.